Hello, viewers, and welcome to Africa and Beyond Television Network. WITNESS Chivhayo was today seen in court where the trial of Mike Chimombe and Moses Mpofu was supposed to commence at the High Court. And Simlife says businessman WITNESS Chivhayo, accused of election procurement corruption involving over 100 million, has just left the High Court, where a judge cancelled a subpoena issued by his ex-business partners Mike Chimombe and Moses Mpofu, who wanted him as a witness in their corruption trial over a tender to supply goods. Justice Pisrai Kwenda ruled that Chivhayo was not a necessary witness, according to Chivhayo's lawyer, Sylvester Ashiti. Let us take a look onto this.
Yeah, so the court has ordered the setting aside of the subpoena issued against Mr. Chivhayo because the court found that he is not a relevant or compellable witness in respect of this matter. And anybody who has no relevance to the determination of this particular case is not a necessary or a compellable or a relevant witness. So on that account, the subpoena has been set aside, of course, as a measure or a mark of the court's displeasure at the abuse of this process. And this also comes from a concession by the lawyers representing the accused that the subpoena was not necessary and that the subpoena was not relevant. So for those reasons, they tendered cost. It is a good concession from them, and it is a good admission from them.
Who examined the certified reasons?
Well, you are summoned by the accused persons to lead evidence in the application for referral to the Constitutional Court. But as I have already indicated, summoning them for their case is not necessary, is not relevant, and is not does not aid their case in any way. So for those reasons, they consider that their subpoena ought to be set aside. As is the calling of any person who is not relevant to their case. It is not necessary and it is not relevant. And they are not, anyone else is equally not compellable where they are not necessary or a necessary witness to the case.
Was there any problem if you justify it?
Of course, you can only testify if you are necessary or relevant to the progress of the case. If you are not necessary and you are not relevant, the whole world might as well come and testify on issues that they know nothing about. This is a matter in which Mr. Chivhayo knows nothing about. He was completely unaware, was not given notice, was not given a summary of the case he has to testify on. There was basically nothing at all which brings him or brought him to court. So that's why I say it was not relevant. So, of course, he would not have testified on something he does not know anything about, something he has not been involved in, and he was never involved in.
So this is the matter. WITNESS Chivhayo was summoned by Mpofu and Chimombe because they wanted him to be part of this whole thing. But if you look at the reasons why Chimombe and Mpofu wanted WITNESS Chivhayo to come, they are saying when they went to Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission, the issue wasn't about goats. The issue was about ZEC scandal. That is the reason why they were summoned to Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission. But because Akachibata Kutiji him outmaneuvered everyone else, and they had to divert the attention to the issue of goats. So this is a scapegoat. These people, it's a diversion tactic by the regime. And we know how they operate. And at the end of the day, you are seeing that the courts they've actually refused to hear the side which Chimombe and Mpofu are trying to outline here. Their issue is that let us deal with the corruption case involving ZEC tender. That is the case they are trying to push into the courts. But the courts are saying, no, you cannot push this one. Let us have our own. Which means if you look at the issues being raised by Mpofu and Chimombe, they would have been granted bail if the courts were not impartial. If the courts were working and very, very good, they would have granted Chivhayo and Mpofu and Chimombe bail, because these people surrendered themselves, number one, to Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission. Number two, the matter which they were summoned for changed on abruptly. The major question is, why is it that the High Court is failing to hold the Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission accountable for failure to deal with the first case? This is a confirmation of state capture. Whatever you are seeing right here, it's a clear confirmation and a clear testament of state capture. It's a very clear testament that Mukomana is in control, and indeed, they're very, very powerful people. The untouchables at the top who are likely going to be exposed if they deal with this matter. So this is what is happening right in Zimbabwe. Chivhayo was seen today in court, and the video which we played, he was leaving court and he was together with his lawyers. So this is it. And there is nothing they are going to do about it. Madiba says, Regaya tengere apostore vakema buses. Anogona kudzimaidza vanhu. Timuria apa even vana madhuku nemajaji vadzimaidzwa nemiteuro. Zimbabwe is a living crime scene, and pakaipa saka nhai gweta obeishava zvinoreve izvi manje. So let us be honest with each other. This is a clear indication that in Zimbabwe there is no rule of law. In Zimbabwe there is no justice. In Zimbabwe, you don't get into prison because you have committed a crime. You get into prison because you have fallen out of favor with those who are powerful politically. That is a clear confirmation in this whole matter. So we'll continue to watch and see, but what we have to note is that they have created the foundation of the fall of the dynasty. This case, the way it looks, it's creating the conducive grounds for the fall of the dynasty. Why? It's because if you look at the first summon to Chimombe, it was a summon to Chimombe, Chivhayo, and another. And when Chimombe and Mpofu went to Zak, the matter changed, which means they will need to investigate from number one. They will need to investigate the man himself, the ZAC commissioner or the ZAC leader. They will need to investigate him to say, what happened? Why is it that you said you summoned Chivhayo and others, but you only summoned just a few? Why is it that you diverted from the original case to the other? That is a clear issue of corruption. And also the office of the president will be dragged into this matter for failing to deal with the ZAC chairperson when he showed that he was biased, which is a clear indication that the claims by Chivhayo were true. If you look at the claims which were made by Chivhayo, they were supposed to be treated as a national security issue, but they were not. So it's a very, very important confirmation of these claims that indeed there are so powerful people at the top. And one day, it will consume a lot of people. So this is it. Temba, how are you? A very good evening. And Mbire, greetings. How are you? This side, we are okay. So I hope and believe that everyone is safe. I hope and believe that everyone is okay. Let us continue to pray. In this season, we are witnessing so many accidents. We are witnessing floods. We are witnessing hailstorms and etc. There are a lot of things happening, and we need to continue to pray to God to protect us. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming. Let us meet in other episodes in other broadcasts.